Again, welcome home, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. So I want to thank Rachel. She's a wonderful musician, isn't she? And Ahmad and Herb for sound, because you wouldn't hear us without it. Maybe you would. My children would say she talks so loudly, but I really don't. That's just their imagination. Speaking of, Megan, thank you for all you're doing. And for everybody that's put this service together, we thank you. So let's start. Oh, and Reverend Doug, that was a beautiful meditation. Thank you. Thank you. Let's start with a little joke, okay? All right. So there was an 85-year-old woman who hadn't dated in years and finally ventured out. She found somebody online, mind you, and he was 92, but youthful, she thought. And she was so excited and got dressed up. And she came home, and she looked terrible, terrible. And her daughter said, well, Mom, wasn't it a good? She said, it was a terrible date. And she said, well, did he get fresh with you? She said, well, yeah, he did. No, excuse me, I'm going to reframe this. She said, I had to slap him 3 times. Her daughter said, you mean he got fresh with you? She said, no, he kept falling asleep. Oh. So let's start with a little bit of unity principle, shall we? Charles Fillmore, in his infinite wisdom, and you know what Reverend Megan, there you go, Megan. We're seeing a higher vision for Megan right there. When she was talking about zeal this morning, he was 93 years old when he was talking about that. So he had no concept of age. He was just alive and filled with life and new ideas. And so let's let old age go this morning. Let's just be, you know? This is the summertime. And years ago, many years ago, I was in college and I picked up Glamour magazine. Now see, I'm going to date myself. I don't even know if Glamour's still around. But they used to have the college issue with all the fashions for college. And the cover was, and I still have it packed away, it's going to be a wonderful summer. And I love that, and I kept it. Something within me lit, it's going to be a wonderful summer. So as we get into this talk, we'll talk more about that. But let's just start right now with Charles Fillmore, this brilliant, brilliant man who stepped beyond the current boundaries of what he knew as a real estate developer and agent into something so huge that 50, 60, 70 years later, people are still practicing this faith, this philosophy, this practical Christianity that he anchored so beautifully. He designated 12 powers, and he did these powers for the disciples, 12 disciples. And this was a system designed for spiritual growth. So our minds can become a true link at a deeper level to spirit through these 12 powers. So I'm just going to go through the first 5, and then we'll land on the 6th for the 6th month. We've got faith for January, then strength, wisdom, love, power for last month, and the 6th month, which I love so much, is imagination. Einstein once said that imagination is more important than knowledge. Now here was this man with an IQ probably of 200, and yet he knew that knowledge had boundaries. We know what we know, but there are no boundaries in our imagination. You know, we are in a new thought church, and I say this, and it's kind of a toss about, but it is the truth. When is the last time we've truly had a new thought? You know, when I first came into the Centers for Spiritual Living, it was religious science at the time, and they were talking about new thought. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. I have so many thoughts in my mind, and trust me, these were not positive thoughts. I thought, now that threw me off. They were just filled with negativity and shame and, oh, coulda, woulda. And I thought, I have no room for any new thoughts. Now, I was an intelligent woman, as we all are, intelligent women, men, people. I thought, I have no room for a new thought. Well, the truth of it is we have infinite room for new thoughts. I live down the street from a middle school, and when I watched the last day of school last week, those children, some of them were young, I think that goes from say 5th to 8th or 9th grade, they were free. Their imagination was soaring. You could see the joy in their faces. They were practically throwing their papers and their books away. They were imagining a summer. They were imagining, who knows, swimming, tennis, skiing, maybe summer camp, spending more time with friends. They had left behind old thoughts. No more school, no more exams, no more teachers. And they had gone into their imagination for the summer. So that is a call for you and for me to be as little children. 8 different times in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, not John, but those 3, Jesus said 8 times, bring the little children to me, because theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So this is the summer to go back to being a child again, to let our imagination soar. There is a creative process that Charles Fillmore, again the co-founder of Unity, talked about. The creative process is mind, idea, and expression. So mind is the mind of God. You know, we sometimes, and hopefully we've let that go, of this God, Father, Santa Claus in the sky, judging. There's no such thing. We have a universal presence that is so magnificent and so powerful that it is within every grain of sand. It is everywhere present. So we've got this mind that is filled with ideas. It is filled with new concepts, new inventions. And we get to think, if we believe the first principle of unity, the one mind that moves through us all, we have access to that mind. We have access to new thoughts and new ideas. But you know what? Sometimes we get stuck. But anyway, so we've got mind with all of these ideas. We grab onto these ideas, which becomes our thoughts. And the thoughts that we give the most attention to end up being part of our life, which is expression. So we've got the mind of God that's everywhere present, that is available to you and to me, because we are all one, connected to this one mind. And then we have ideas out there. Oh my goodness, so many ideas, so many thoughts. And then we have expression. You know, there's the story which we all know, but it just came to me several times, so I was going to repeat it one more time, about the baby elephant. And they take these baby elephants and they tie with just a little bamboo string to a post so that the baby elephant cannot wander. And pretty soon after the elephant is 6 or 8 months old, they release that bamboo string, and the elephant is free, but the elephant doesn't know it's free. It continues to stay in the same circle again and again. They never have to worry about the elephant once it's trained. Once we have trained our minds, we do the same thing over and over and over again. Which thoughts are we thinking this summer that might uplift us, that might get us out of the hamster ring that goes round and round and round? We have been conditioned by society, by our parents. Before we even born, we hear conversations going on around us. That little child is already has intelligence. So what have we picked up? Have we picked up all of the good that is around us? Are we open to new ideas, new ways of being, new ways of creating? Do we know who we are? That was Reverend Michael's question. Do you know who you are? I spent a week down with Deepak Chopra some time ago down in La Jolla. And it was a week, and I thought if he says it one more time, I'm going to collapse. He would start over and over again. Who am I? Who am I? Am I just some person just dropped on earth, and then what was Peggy Lee's song, and then I die? Who am I? We are a spark of divine inspiration, of divine knowingness. We are the emanation of the Most High God. Einstein said something also. He said, we will never solve the level, a problem at the level of thinking that has created the problem. Have you all had a problem? And it goes round and round, and the next year it's Groundhog Day. We're the same thing over and over because we're with the same thinking that created the problem. So it's time. We are in a new thought church. Never mistake it. We are not New Age. We are new thought that goes back to Plato and Socrates. We are new thought and ancient wisdom. We have a history that is so magnificent and so great that it is calling each one of us into greatness. We are here. Our lives have meaning and purpose. We are the very star, the very sunshine that God works through. So let's just go, what do I want this summer? So let's just ask ourselves, how do I want to see myself this summer? Perhaps not hot. We're not going to do that. You know, I read something cute. It said, when the 1st of June comes, have a tall glass of water, go in the house, and don't come out till November 3rd. We don't want to do that. We are here to glow and shine this summer. So who do we want to be this summer? You know, there's a story about Gandhi, and his name was Mohammed K. Gandhi. And Gandhi did not start out as this leader, this magnificent leader of men of freedom. He started out as an attorney, and his skin was very black. And so he was Indian, but because his skin was so black, and he was a tiny man, and he used to cut his own hair, when he'd get into court, people made fun of him. And one time he was kicked off of a train because he had a first-class ticket. He was going from South Africa back to India. And they threw him off the train because of the color of his skin. And another story about Gandhi, too, is he had a horrible temper. Gandhi, and he and his wife used to fight so terribly that they'd be out on the lawn fighting. So here was this man, brilliant, small, dark-skinned, people throwing him off trains, had a temper, blah, blah, blah. Something happened. He caught a different picture of himself. And when he caught that different picture of himself, he knew he was called to something greater. He was called as a freedom fighter for the people of India. And he walked, I don't know what, 15, 20 miles a day. And he walked through India as a peacemaker until he obtained the freedom of the Indian people from English rule. Well, we walk through our life carrying, what are we carrying? You know, going back to Gandhi, as I say, his name was Mohandas K. Gandhi. Well, where did the word Mahatma come from? And followers one time said to him, "You are Mahatma." And he said, "No, I don't deserve that title." And what that title means is great soul. And I suggest to you and to me today, we are great souls. Our lives have meaning and purpose. We are here to allow the grace, the goodness of God to flow through each and every one of us. We are here to anchor good. We are here to anchor peace and love and joy. So when you think of ourselves this summer, all of us, I've been thinking about this for several days. What if when we wake up, what Reverend Doug was talking about our first thought, to obviously give thanks. This is the day that God has made. But to remember, I am a great soul. Doesn't that make a difference? I'm just not hot, or I'm just not, whatever. I am a great soul. I am here because at some level, and Charles Fillmore was so ahead of his time, I made an agreement with this universe to be here at this time and this place, to be a place for the grace of God to flow through me. So when people see me, they are seeing a great soul in action. They may have, and this is not ego. This has nothing to do with ego. This is the truth with a capital T. We are great souls. Carry that this summer wherever you go. I am a great soul because I am here for meaning and purpose. I have come into this lifetime to do good, to be the hands, the eyes, the ears, the mouth of God, and to know that God is everywhere present within the crabby clerk that way, the annoying relatives, whatever's going on. I am a great soul, and I am more than this. I am more than any situation that presents itself. I am health. I am wholeness. I am joy. I am peace. I am the love of God in expression. Wouldn't it be wonderful to go through this life this summer, June, July? Join me. At least can we do it this week? We'll say that. I am a great soul, and that's the truth. Think about it. Meditate on it. Not because I, the small I, but the I am within us that's forever wanting to express, say, always be more and never less of yourself. You are, because I am within you, a great soul. I have called you into being. Isn't it Jeremiah that says, I have numbered every hair on your head. I know you. I knew you in your mother's womb. So what if we carried that this summer? I am a great soul. I am here for good. I am here so when people see me, they may have no idea what they're seeing or why, but they have a different feeling. They know something different because we glow. We absolutely exude love and peace and joy because we are great souls into a great calling into this lifetime. We underestimate ourselves because we've been taught, well, you can't think too highly of yourself. Not from an ego, because from an ego, I don't think I'd have gotten up this morning, really, But the I am, that power within us that's always wanted to burst through. I am that I am. There's a medium. His name is Bashar, and he says again, different ways of thinking and being. He said, I am what I am. And Popeye said that, didn't he? I am what I am. So I am a great soul. Not because of anything little Barbara did or what, but because we came into being. We agreed to be here at this lifetime. And not any time in history, I do not believe, that life has need each one of us to step forward as that great soul. Because we have come with a mission. Each one of us has agreed to something. And it's not a consciousness of what we are. Oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. That's wonderful. But it's who we are behind that. It is who we are, the expression of the good within us, of the ability to see the God self of other people, even though they annoy us to death, right? Does anybody know about that? Anybody have anybody might be annoying in their life? But then we get to see the good in them. And we get to celebrate that. And we get again to know that I have meaning and purpose in my life because I am a great soul. And I join with Jesus, our way shower, who said, come, join me. You are my brothers and you are my sisters. He never said, worship me, not one time in the Gospels. What he said was over and over, follow me. He was this great soul, this magnificent soul that said these things and greater things shall you do. So we have these way showers, the Fillmores, and of course our great way shower, Jesus. We have Buddha, we have Gandhi, we have so many that have stepped forward as great souls, and they're calling us to do the same. So we're great souls this summer. And so the second point is, God, lead me where you need me. We've talked about this before. God, lead me where you need me. And so sometimes God is leading, and God leads in infinite ways. We can put up a book, and there's something of inspiration. Someone says, God works through other people. God works through synchronicities. So God, lead me where you need me. And underneath it is the power of your yes. So when God is leading us, it may not be thunder coming out of the sky, but opportunities arise. So we say, God, lead me where you need me. Opportunities arise, and we say, not today, God. You know, it's hot out there. I'm really tired. I don't think today is the day. When we start with, God, lead me where you need me, opportunities arise. And what is our answer going to be this summer? It's going to be yes, right? Let's say it together. Yes. Let me give you an example. My daughter Kelly my children were all born and raised and went to school here. But then one's in California. Kelly, I've got a son in California. Kelly moved to Florida. I've got a son in Dallas. Kelly moved back to home, Dallas, last July. And she's been divorced for a long time. She works long, long hours. And she has a son that has given her a run for her money. Let's just say that. A wonderful young man. But, you know, he has been, he keeps her on her toes. We'll just say this. She has not dated at all because she just says, I'm too exhausted. So her brother in California has been saying to her, Cal, why don't you try this cold dive? Is that what it's called, this cold plunge? Which sounds absolutely, and she kept saying, oh, Dan, no, you know, that's just not for me. I can't imagine getting, and so one day she was talking to him, she said, you know, she's exhausted. He said, Kelly, I'm telling you, this cold plunge, he said, it really has awakened me. He said, I wake up bright and clear after I've been in this cold plunge. So she decided to say yes. Okay, so over on Lover's Lane, not far from where we live, there was a place with cold plunge. She went in there, and there was two men in there, and she got talking, and one of them was talking to. Synchronicities, her yes brought this in. He knew both of her brothers. He went to the same grade school she did. He went to the same middle school she did. He was 2 years behind her. He went to the same high school she did. Her address was 3212 Marquette. His address was 3212 Bryn Mawr, 6 blocks away. Well, the synchronicities just kept coming. Yesterday, we celebrated her birthday, and they became engaged. Aww. Isn't that wonderful? I see Donna back there. She knows Kelly. She's just, it's nice to see you. Anyway, it was because of her yes. Now, she could have said no, and that opportunity would have gone away. Somebody else would have come in. He'd have met somebody else. Who knows? But she said yes. This summer at our church, we're going to do some wonderful things. Nancy Duplant is going to do one of her Tai Chi classes, which is a magnificent way of doing. Oh, God's calling right now. Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Exactly. We say yes to that call. Nancy Duplant, I've taken one of her chair Tai Chi classes. It was fabulous. She's going to offer that. I talked to Sandra this morning. She's going to offer one of her art classes in charcoal. So what are we going to say when, and who knows what else is going to happen. Reverend Doug is filled with ideas and imagination. But when things are offered to us, why don't we, instead of saying, oh, I don't know, in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, he says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And sometimes we get in, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, the universe hears every word. Well, they don't know what they're going to do, so nothing happens. So if something really doesn't appeal to us, or it's not our highest interest, we say no. But if there's something that could offer us an opportunity, because that's what this life, this world, excuse me, it's not this world, it's the life. This world is full of, it's a problematic, we know that, that's the human level. But life itself is so magnificent and so great. And since we have been called into being, there are always opportunities for us. So what are we going to say this summer when a class is offered with someone who is as expertise as Nancy, as creative as Sandra, whatever Reverend Doug's going to do? What is going to be our answer? It's going to be yes. Yes, I'm open to new opportunities and new ways of being. That is so important, our yes. You know, I'm just going to give you an example which has absolutely nothing to do with politics. This is a human interest story. There was a man that grew up very poor, very poor in Appalachia. His mother was an addict and an alcoholic. She was not functioning. And so his grandmother raised him. And they were on food stamps, which is nothing wrong with that at all. But there were times when they didn't have enough to eat because she had food stamps for herself. And so he made a decision that he was going to do something different because he saw what was happening to the friends around him. Many of them were joining gangs, etc. So he had an opportunity to join the Marines. And he's on the fence, but he said yes. He went into the Marines. He went back to Ohio State. He got his degree. And then he was accepted at Yale Law School. So here he was, this poor child, with an alcoholic, non-functioning, addicted mother. A grandmother was elderly and poor, and made a decision and said yes to stepping outside the current boundary as he knew it. He then became an author of a very popular book, bestseller, Hillbilly Elegy. He went on to become a United States Senator, and he went on to become the Vice President of the United States. His yes opened up doors beyond what we can believe. You know, each one of us have boundaries, right? This is the way we live our life. These are the thoughts that I think. No more. We're going to open the doors. We're going to think new thoughts. I've got to watch my stories. Reverend Doug will say, now you're telling too many stories again. One more, Reverend Doug. Okay. Now I forgot my story. Let's just talk for a second about the Fillmores, the co-founders of this magnificent movement that we have, Unity. He was a real estate developer. She was a teacher. They went to a lecture by a man named W.E. Meeks, who was a student of Emma Curtis Hopkins. And all of the great New Thought teachers came from Emma, but she couldn't travel all the time, so she sent Meeks around. And when they heard Meeks speak, W.E. Meeks speak, they caught new thoughts. All of a sudden, they were beyond a real estate developer. They were they were moved beyond being a teacher. They caught new thoughts and they said yes. So they began to publish a magazine. They started a prayer line, and it developed into this marvelous movement that we call Unity. But again, it's saying yes. So when we hear something, when someone inspiration is speaking, it's not just, oh, it's for them, it's not for me. It's for all of us. God works through other people. So our yes is yes this summer. We're going to do something different. We're going to move beyond the boundaries of our life. Oprah Winfrey once said, life is big, you all. Live it. So when these old thoughts come up, I'm not enough, I can't do that, it's too hot outside, whatever the thought is, to stop right there and think, I'm going to take a new thought today. I am a great soul, and I'm going to take a new thought, and I'm going to know who I am and why I'm here. And wouldn't that be wonderful? Will we all try to do that? And that means we have to be awake and aware when these old thoughts come, and we can say, no more, no more. I am a great soul, and I am saying yes to a larger life. I am saying yes to be a presence in a place for God to express as my life. And the third thing is set your intention. Vivian and I were talking about that this morning. We set our intention. We can say goals, but we set an intention is very powerful. And then we pay attention to our intention and whatever that intention is for this summer. So one of the intentions is we're going to identify now as a great soul. Another one of our intentions is we are going to say yes to opportunities and yes to thinking outside the current boundaries of our life. And the third thing is always to pay attention to our intention, because we make intentions and we forget. So we're going to pay attention to our intention to be a different person this summer, because we're being called to action. We are being called to be bigger than we are right now. and move on with our life into a bigger arena, because that's where we're called. That's where Jesus is saying, come, 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 my beloved. Step outside this boundary, because what I have done, you can do too. We may not walk on water. We may not cure the leper, but we may be the one voice that saves somebody from suicide. We may be the one smile that inspires somebody. We have such potential. Great souls that say yes. And then I'm going to end with St. Paul. His epistle of Philippians, they say, is the most upbeat of all of his writings. And I'd like to read from St. Paul, Philippians 14:8. He says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is praiseworthy, think on these things. It's going to be a wonderful summer. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. One more time?
Yes.
Thank you. So it is.